Okay, so I think since there's a lot of delays a while ago, I need to get started. And first of all, thank you very much for joining me today. I am Aris, and today I'll be talking about using your AI as your sixth man, your red team operator off the bench. So while waiting for everyone, I guess I'll get started to introduce myself. So as I mentioned, my name is Aris. I think you've seen me all around this con for the past few days, and I've been an InfoSec guy for 8 years and counting now. I am currently the manager of Red Team Operations at Theos. I'm also a senior content engineer for part-time at TryHackMe, so I'm not sure if you've seen any rooms that I've created way back with Arizi as its author. I'm also Root Goon, just since last year, and I am also the head of the Red Teaming Village. I hope that you came to our village yesterday and also today. And maybe if you still want to go, you still have a little bit of time to check it out. And lastly, as requested, I'm also part of Hack Street Boys and also from Red Rock. So, and love you, Doc Mon. Love you, Mon. So for today, I'll be talking about AI. And I just wanted to discuss a couple of things about why we want AI, why everyone wants AI, and of course, as the essence of this talk, I'll be talking about applying it in red team operations and key takeaways in conclusion, your take-home items to think about and ponder after this talk. And please check the meme that's customized, so please clap at the end of the presentation. So, first things first, before I deal down with the specifics of using AI in red teaming, I think it's a requirement for me to talk about AI and why we want AI and what problems does AI solve. First of all, needless to say, I guess let's just join the hype. I think everyone nowadays is just talking about AI, uses AI in everywhere they want, everything they do. So who here uses AI in their work? Show hands. AI, nice. You're catching up with the industry. So yeah, I think not just in cyber, even in any industry, they're now using AI to somehow solve the problems that they're encountering that might not be solved by, or I guess they believe that AI can be a solution that optimizes things on their end. Even academes. Actually, I don't know how academes handle the students who are using GPT nowadays, but I think it's a it's a flip side of things. It's a problem for them, but I guess it's their problem, not mine. So anyway, point is everyone nowadays, just like the meme, is adopting AI across industries. And on top of that, as I mentioned, since everyone is using it, it's not just the good guys, even adversaries are using it. So if they're using it, why not? So can we. Uh, So as you can see here in the image, this is a sample that I've chosen. There's a lot of ways to use AI. And here they use deepfake to get inside know before. But of course, know before is saying that they were able to capture it. Aside from deepfakes, there's a lot of applications which I'll be talking about later. Next, work scalability. As I mentioned, there's a lot of ways of using AI, and I think one of the problems that it can solve is the scalability problem. And I think the first topic I want to discuss here is red teams face increasing scope and complexity every day. And just remember, if you are a seasoned pen tester or red teamer, just imagine the complexity of work that needs to be done to get inside any organization now. Imagine the ease of just using Metasploit before, and without a breeze, you can just get any organization you want. But now there's a lot of controls, there's a lot of tools, and of course the topics. Everyone is now using cloud, everyone is using clusters, containers. So for a red teamer to keep up, you need to learn all those things. Since if you encounter it in your engagement and don't know anything about it, then that's a problem. How will you mention it to your client that, okay, we don't know that, we can't do that, sorry. So it's always a stressful thing for a red teamer that you need to always keep up. And there's this paper that I saw. This is a generic paper. I mean, this is a generic cybersecurity uh, study about the stress factor and its impact to cybersecurity professionals. So as you can see in the table on the right, 52% says that it's just the nature of work. So without any other factors, our work is really hard. So given that, I know everyone here who does cybersecurity, you know that's always burning us out. So we need always to, well, try our best to not get burned out. So, yeah. And as I mentioned, by default, based on the paper, cybersecurity is overwhelming. So please, managers here, based on the study, please take care of your people. Next, the supply and demand of talents. So companies always demand for rock stars. I think everyone agrees with this. And in reality, if we're talking about red teamers, they're somehow unicorns. And according to the study conducted by SANS, 52% of the leaders does not believe that it's the number of people is the problem. The problem is finding the right people with the right skills. So I'd say, yeah, there's a lot of no, there's no, there's not much of a supply on the demand that we want for the skill that we want to cover the red team operations that we want to deliver on a day-to-day basis. And again, why am I here? What I'm talking about? The point is, let's try using AI to solve this problems that I've been saying again and again. So let's try checking some posts on how they describe that unicorn. So based on this first example, this one is from Google. I believe every red teamer here thinks getting into Google is a dream. Imagining that Google, I know a guy who works at Google, he's so good, so I know the level of skill needed to get inside Google. And in Google, they want at least 5 years of experience with red teaming, including a lot of knowledge in different fields like network, web app, mobile cloud, social engineering, yada, yada, yada. So there's a lot. And experience with a lot of, with different tools. So as, what else? Fluency in English is easy for us Filipinos, so not a problem. And also certifications. So move on to the next one. This one is with our best friends at CrowdStrike. So CrowdStrike wants the same, a little bit same thing, 5 years of experience, 1 year management role, advanced experience on a lot of tooling, yada yada, of course certs. And this super awesome company that I know, they require 2 years experience, knowledge on different things, yada yada yada, certifications, such as same thing that people are asking for these kind of candidates. And yeah, Atios. So my point is showing all those images. This is somehow the things that we've gathered. Is this an ideal red teamer? The one that can do very good reconnaissance, can develop their own exploits, their payloads, their malware, that can bypass all the EDRs you can imagine, all the pretext in social engineering campaigns, bypass the email gateways, and all the targets believe that it's not a phishing email. Doing the infra, playing with C2, automating everything, and yeah, reporting communication. So based on all the examples, somehow this is the one that we got from all of those. And from here, we want to test how can AI do some of those things. So basically, that's the point of my presentation. So let's use this scenario. So our goal here is one, let's say we have company A, they want to have a red team, and their focus or goal in this engagement is to assess the perimeter and response to a mass phishing campaign. So the objective is either harvest credentials, it's, okay, mic test, okay, we're back. So yeah, it's either harvest credentials or gain a foothold with an internal network. So yeah, and uh, the other ones are just placeholders to make it look believable. But somehow, if you think about the scenario, the things that you want to do is one, do some recon, study about the target, assess the perimeter, check their assets, find some vulnerabilities, and of course, lastly, do a phishing campaign. So somehow it summarizes this. At least these four items must be done during this simulated engagement. So you must do recon, infra building, social engineering, and report writing. So for this setup, sadly, it's hard to, I anticipated that it's really hard to demo with AI, and sometimes there's a latency of loading the prompts and the responses, so I just put everything here. But to give you an idea, here's the setup that I use for this presentation. So I use ChatGPT mainly with a subscription to ease the, well, so that it does not have any limitations somehow. I use Fire as my MCP client, which I'll be talking about later. I used OpenAI API to connect the MCP to OpenAI. And of course, some MCP tools that are, well, useful for the scenario, for the tasks that we want AI to do. And yeah, before we get started, I'd like to highlight this one. So when using AI, please, please, please consider the sensitivity of data that you're feeding to AI platforms. I know ChatGPT and other platforms may say that if you're using a business plan, we don't use that to train our models, but would you trust that? Yeah, I'm not saying that they're doing it, but just to make sure that you don't sell. Okay, so yeah. Hey, I lost track. Anyway, let's just move on. So, as I mentioned, there's a three-letter word that I mentioned a while ago. It's MCP. This is Model Context Protocol. So, basically, this is the bridge between large language models and real-world tools. So, yeah, based on my slide, it lets AI connect to external tools and data and helps AI provide context. You provide more context to AI, and it works through a client, which is, for my example, it's Fire. Some people use Claude, but I use Fire since I want to use. I have different API keys to use, so it's more flexible. And it talks to a server, which is the MCP server. And the MCP server exposes the tools AA can call for some specific actions. So think of it as a middleware, and it's a universal plug between AI and software. So to give you more examples, so without MCP, if you scan the target or just ask ChatGPT to, hey, please scan this domain or scan this IP, and sometimes AI just guesses or it just attempts to do it, and we don't know what it really does on the back end. Or sometimes it says, I can't do it, I'll just provide the way, do it yourself. But with MCP, you can explicitly say that if you say scan the target, it will run nmap on the back end, and it will return a JSON result, and AI will parse it for you and then interpret it for you. So as I mentioned, MCP aids AI to have more context or have more specific results based on the prompts that you do. So yeah, on the last part, it means definitely that you guide AI to perform specific and reliable tasks. And think of it as you are tuning AI into repetitive, repeatable workflows. So I guess let's move on to the important part. So before I get started, this presentation is intended solely for educational and ethical purposes. Please don't use it for anything bad, and don't use me as a reference that you learned it from me. Any tools, techniques you learn here are only meant for you to understand and defend against real-world attacks. So first, let's get started with the recon. So I am not authorized to do I was supposed to say shit, but I'm not authorized to do these things to other other clients, but I guess I'm authorized to do it on our own. So in our example, I'm just doing a perimeter check in my company, Theos. So imagine beginning reconnaissance with only the company name as our lead. So a quick Google search of Theo Cyber will give you a lot of information. But in this, let's just try using AI. And as a result, it somehow gave me a lot of information. It was founded in 2019, going 6 years now. There's a lot of offices around APAC and the services that they offer. So somehow, if you're red teaming, you have an idea that, okay, they're asking us to target a cybersecurity company, which is something that sounds crazy. Uh, and in continuation, it also gave me possibly the number of employees in the company, the location of the employees, and of course the leader, which is Paul. Hey, Paul. So I think as a red teamer, this is a significant data. If you know who the leaders are, you know that they are the ones who handle the crown jewels, the secrets of the company. So if you are a red teamer, it's a good note to know these people. Just depends on you what you want to do next. I won't tell, but please don't hack Paul because of this. So after that, I also tried to check. Well, I think I also asked here to check all the public emails available owned by TIO's employees. And the good thing here is it tried to give the format. In this case, the AI was able to get the format first at tiocyber.com. And for example, it gave that Paul.Jackson at tiocyber.com, which is a little bit weird and contradicting since the format is first at, but it gave the full name of Paul Jackson. And well, just to let you know, please don't try hitting that since please, just don't. And yeah, I think this is also good information as a red teamer. So if you know the format of the emails, then you can try to generate all the patterns that you may know as long as you have the list of users. So now, if you want to get more information, well, I was talking about the emails, but now this is also a slide about the emails. So I also attempted to specify this thing, and sadly, GPT-5 prevents you to get all the emails that they can scrape from Theos. But sadly, GPT can be downgraded. So you have two options here. You can downgrade the model that is not too secure yet, that doesn't stop you from doing bad things, or you can do like the prompt bypasses online that you can use. But I think most of them are not reliable anymore. So at the end of the day, you either bypass it with your own prompt or downgrade the model to a lower version that does not have more controls. And this, based on the example, I was able to gather, not saying that they're all valid, but at least you have a base list of what of who you can target during an engagement. So aside from the emails, I also tried to ask information about employees. So I asked, based on the list and all the resources online, who is the best security guy at TIOS? Pick only one. So I think AI is reliable, right? Yeah, this is just edited. To be honest, when I tried this one, the best guy at TIOS based on GPT, it's Paul. And all the descriptions is about Paul has 30 years of experience. Paul is a master of DFIR. He's a god. He's so good. So GPT, well, knows how to somehow, well, rate it based on all the information that can be seen from Paul. But I guess since I am the one talking here, this is the right one. So now I was talking about the external perimeter information about Theos. How about we check the external assets owned by Theos? And now, well, based on my experience, like a year ago, GPT still checks for you the list of IPs owned by a company, the list of domains. But nowadays, since there's a lot of controls applied, can't do it anymore. So it's preventing us from using GPT to abuse it. So if you want to check the subdomains, the IP addresses, applications or technology stacks used, it's not, well, maybe you can rewrite the prompt, but it's not as flexible anymore, unlike before. So instead of relying to GPT, let's look at alternative ways on how to gather information. So the backup plan is use an MCP server. In this case, we'll be using Hexstrike AI MCP agent. So as I mentioned a while ago, when using MCP, you're just asking, or you're just creating an environment where the output that you desire is really, well, is somehow reliable, since you're setting what the AI should do when you send some prompts. So for example, if you ask AI to scan the target, it will use the backend tools and communicate with the Hexstrike. Okay, how do I do the scanning? Then Hexstrike will tell, okay, if we want to get the IP addresses, then let's resolve all the domains first and get the IP addresses, or let's get all the subdomains first, then I'll give it to you, then you parse it and render it for the user. So for Hextrack, there's a lot of tools. I think this is the most comprehensive tool that I've seen nowadays. There's a lot of MCPs online recently, but this one compiled all the possible tools that you can use. It's not just on external perimeter, but also on web apps, also in internal testing. I've seen NetExec was integrated here, hash ID crack station, SMB map, and so far and so forth. So after I tested, I using Fire, and I connected it to OpenAI and Hexstrike. I asked GPT, well, I asked my MCP client to, I'm not sure if you can see it clearly, but I asked AI to start my authorized pen test, and please give me the subdomains of TS Cyber. And in this, it gave me, well, the subdomains, which is publicly available on by TIOS, and it resolved the IP addresses for me. So yeah, compared to GPT, this is more reliable, of course. And the underlying backend of this MCP server is just a set of pen testing tools. So you can see here. So in this screenshot, I just wanted to show that the backend just shows a lot of loading. It's not fun to look on this one, but as you can see, it gave the A records here and the debug. And the thing that I wanted to highlight here is this one. I'm not sure if you can see this one, but it's amas enum-d.theocyber.com. So when I asked the AI to get the subdomains on the back end, it just used amas enum, which is the point of using MCP. In the backend server, you're just specifying that when someone asks you to do subdomain, you do amas and check all the subdomains. So now that we have initial information, let's try focusing on setting up the infrastructure to do the phishing campaigns. And I guess this stops me now from using Theos as an example. So if you do your phishing campaigns, please don't hit us. You have all, just do it on your own environment. All the recon that I did are publicly available information, so it's okay to do it, but phishing and all other things must not be done without authorization. So as a quick example, if we want to do some phishing, we want to build our infrastructure. And the first thing that pops into everyone's mind when talking about phishing is GoPhish. So this one is just a very simple script. So if you talk to AI, hey AI, build my GoPhish instance, write a bash script that allows me to install all the tools needed, all the prerequisites, and make it download the Go Fish clone. So if you do a prompt like that, it will do it seamlessly. So this one was tested and it definitely works. So once you have executed all these steps, just copy paste it in the server, as long as it's Linux machine, of course, then you will have a fresh Go Fish installed, but still not running. So yeah. So when using this, when building GoFish, there's a lot of other things to consider when doing the prompts. You can run GoFish as a service, so you can also ask AI, hey, GoFish, after you build the script, can you also automate the creation of a service and deploy it so that the GoFish service runs indefinitely without the need of manually starting it. You can also pre-configure the admin credentials. So if you, by default, GoFish, when you run GoFish, it will give you the initial admin password, and once you log in on your first attempt, it will force you to change your password. So that's for me, it's something that I don't want to do that always when I spawn my instance, so I'll just automate it. So you can also automate it and ask AI to augment your script and to doing it. And also, if you have a set of pretexts that you're reusing, you can just ask AI, okay, once you have created the script, please also create pretext and feed it to my GoFish instance. So you can also do that. And lastly, the most important thing as a red teamer, if there are any IOCs or indicators of compromise in the script and GoFish, you should definitely remove it. Next, EvilGenX. So EvilGenX is just a man-in-the-middle framework that allows you to capture credentials, session tokens. Same thing. AI was able to create a working script that builds my EvilGenX and makes it compiles a binary, and it just depends on you on how you run it. So other things to consider here, you can just remove, of course, the IOCs in EvilGenX and pre-populate the fish list. So the fish list in EvilGenX, I don't want to discuss more of this, but it's just like the template used to create the website that you want to mimic. So for example, if you want to do a man-in-the-middle attack in an O365 website, you just design your fishlet to copy all the websites in the legitimate O365 or Microsoft 365 page, and yeah, once you run it, when you hit your EvilGenX, it will mimic and it will run like it's in the middle of you hitting the legitimate one. And lastly, a redirector. So a redirector is a concept used by red teamers to somehow hide the backend instances. So basically, you just don't want to expose the services in your main servers like the GoFish EvilGenX. So what you want is, if someone hits your services, it runs through a redirector first, so that when you got caught, you can just burn this one and spawn another redirector, and you don't remove anything or do anything on your backend servers. So here, I think the point here is, if you ask AI, it can do minimal things like automating the creation of redirector. And of course, there are other things to consider doing here, is like creation of firewall rules within the servers and configuring the logging mechanism, since it's very important to have a very good logging so that it allows you to know who is investigating you. Does your payloads work? Can you track who is clicking, so far and so forth. So I've been talking about bash scripts, so you can also ask AI to create a Terraform script instead of you logging into every server and copy pasting the bash script. You can just write a Terraform script and ask AI to augment it with the bash scripts that you did before. So when you run this Terraform script, it will create the instance and install all the things that you need to run the services. So at this point, I've been talking about how AI can do the bash scripts, how it can do the Terraform scripts. But the problem is, you are still doing some work. you still need to run the Terraform script, right? You still need to like put the API keys in the Terraform script and it will do the things for you. But what if you want to just ask AI like a person, hey, spawn some servers, build me a redirector, build me a goldfish. Do you think is it possible? And based on my slide, yeah, it's possible. So our goal here is just to use the NCP client, connect an MCP server, and use AI to build your servers. So here, I initially tested DigitalOcean's MCP to deploy some instances. So okay. So here you can see that in the DigitalOcean instance, you can when using DigitalOcean instance, DigitalOcean MCP, you can specify what functionalities you can use. But primarily in this example, we can just use droplet creation and modification. So you can see here that we can create droplets, you can delete it, and yeah, do anything about it, except for one caveat that I'll be talking about later. So when using this example, this DigitalOcean MCP, after it was able to create the instance, it cannot directly connect to the server. So sadly, unlike when you ask someone to create a server, and after that you need to ask them another thing to do, like configure the server, fix the service that you installed, delete it, or anything. The AI can't do anything after it created the server. It can only delete it, but it cannot log in and install anything or execute anything inside it. So it just gave me, when I did the prompt, it just gave me a set of instructions on how to do the ones that I asked AI to do. Which is for me, it's shit, since I know this, why you're giving me this. I want you to do it for me, not ask me to do it for you. So here, uh, well, I just ask AI to delete the instance since I want AI to put the scripts first during the deployment and deploy it immediately after running. So I was asking if is it possible, and it was telling me that yada yada, uh, it will try to create again. But I've been doing this again and again. I got tired, and I just went to the actual DigitalOcean GitHub page. I just read the scripts, and it doesn't have that function. So you just wasted your time talking about DigitalOcean MCP not working or not being capable to do some startup scripts. So the point here is if you want to do or like ask AI to do everything you ask about building an instance, right now DigitalOcean is not capable. But I guess if you can modify it or wait for someone to deploy a working one, then good for you. But if not, I'll just suggest an alternative one which I was able to make work. So for this, forgot to mention, the alternative here is AWS. So I use AWS MCP. And my goal here right now is just to talk to AI and ask AI to do everything for me. So I asked AI, how many instances do I have in my region? So it gave me no running EC2 instances in your region. So now I ask AI a very complicated thing. So I asked AI to, can you help me create a new Ubuntu T2 micro EC2 instance and only allow this IP? Since I don't want to expose my server like to everyone, I want only my IP or my secret IP to be allowed to connect it via SSH and assign a SSH key pair. So I'll use the private key to log into that and also name that instance with MCP demo. After that, the next set of instructions. So I asked the AI to also create a startup script that configures a GoFish instance with all the requirements needed to run the tool like Go and other things. So as you can see here, the things that we were building a while ago, I'm just asking AI to do everything from the creation of the GoFish instance, GoFish service, up to creation of the actual EC2 instance, combining everything in one. So now, well, yeah, it gave me the response after like running for 3 to 4 minutes. It mentioned that it was able to create it with the specified configurations. It also created a security group that controls the access from only from the specific IP, and the access is only limited to the key pair assigned to the SSH access. Uh, and yeah, it gave me the public IP address, which is helpful for me since I just need to get that IP address, log in, use my private key, and log in. So as a result, here are some screenshots. Okay, so I leaked the IP, but I already deleted that, so it's okay. So it was able to create the instance. It created the security group on the lower part. You can see here that's only limited to port 22 and this specific IP that I will not disclose, hopefully. And it added the key pair that I asked the AI. And after checking, this is the location of the init script deployed during the startup. So this one is inside an EC2 instance, and this contains the instructions that it runs during the deployment. So it was able to, well, prepare the goldfish. As you can see, it downloads via get, it unzips it, it moves the goldfish binary, but sadly, the instructions here is something that I don't like since it just downloaded the release pre-compiled binary. So it just downloaded it, unzipped it, just moved it to the bin. So for me, I really like building my tools from scratch, like compiling it from scratch, since you have more control. But I didn't mention that to AI, so AI didn't know my preference. So after that, it created a service, and after that, it created a goldfish directory and set up the config file. So after checking the service, I tried to check if it is running. Sadly, no. And I checked the setup. Uh, the service was created perfectly, but the binary is not running. So after checking, as you can see below, I tried to run it. I didn't know why since I'm root, but permission denied. So upon checking the file, as you can see here in this line, it's a little bit hard to see from the back, but it says the binary is just readable. It's not executable. So AI didn't know that I'm asking AI to run this service, right? But it did not even bother changing this to an executable binary, which is bad. It's so obvious, right, for everyone here, that if you want to create and deploy a service, then you need to make the binary executable. But AI didn't think of that. uh, so after that, I tried to change it into an executable, then run it, but still there's an error. So yeah, the point here is, I guess if you want to use a setup like this, you need to really refine your prompts. I did not, I tried to specify a couple of things, but the problem here is that it missed that the service must be an executable binary. It missed the usage of a non-compiled script, then compile it instead of download. But it downloaded this pre-compiled one. So there are a lot of things that we can improve here, but the point is, I guess the setup works. You just need to refine your prompt. But at the end of the day, it's just annoying that when you ask AI to do something, it can't do anything. I guess you just need to do and have a workaround. Maybe improve your MCP or just don't use AI and just do a working, reliable script instead. Next, okay, I am lacking some time, but the next part is social engineering. With the infrastructure done, we were able to create a goldfish, we have EvilGeneX and all other things. The next part is craft some phishing pretexts. And let's ask AI if AI is capable of writing some believable ones. So the first example is this. I just asked AI to create a draft uh, that can be used for your IT announcement. I asked AI to keep it professional. I should have a signature. It should be written also in HTML so that I can use HTML to write the actual pretext, and I can customize it in the design that I want, and add a disclaimer at the bottom. So looks good for me. Of course, you just need to replace some placeholders like the actual target that you want to target, the actual name that you want to impersonate, and change the disclaimer. If you have a disclaimer and your footnote in your emails, then also customize it. But the point here is it can write somehow a good template. The next test that I did is ask AI to write an HTML with a QR code. So in this one, what it did is it successfully, if you try to scan this one, there's no harm in doing since it's just pointing to Google. But the point is it was able to create a QR code directly without any specifications. But I think I was only able to get it successfully after 3 tries. So maybe it's just my prompt, but the point here is AI can do some QR codes for you embedded in the email. And last test that I did, which is very interesting, is sometimes I see some good templates online. Like if I want to legitimately copy a third-party service that is being used by the target, like for example, if they're using DocuSign, if they're using Trello, if they're using Slack, and you see a template online, but it's only an image. It's a very effort. You need a lot of effort to copy it manually, copying all the aesthetics, all the designs. So what I did is I just pasted an image in GPT and asked the AI to create an HTML version of it and make everything an inline and copy all the colors accurately. And as a result, it looked so good. It was able to copy everything. I believe I did a lot of tests way back, and it's not as accurate as this before. I think maybe 6 months ago, it's still not as good as this. And luckily, when I was refining my slides, it was able to do it. So it's a good thing to share. So for the social engineering, I wanted to showcase something, but I don't want to, well, it's a private thing, so I'll just share some ideas because, of course, I don't want to leak all my secrets in front of you. So some nice to haves about social engineering is that one, having a GoFish MCP. So as I mentioned, when having an MCP allows you to control the actual things that you want AI to do. So for this, if we just just imagine if we have an MCP for GoFish and ask AI to, hey, write an email template and directly put it to GoFish. So instead of you copy pasting the HTML code that I've shown a while ago, it will automatically add it to GoFish, and yeah, the next thing to do is just send it since you already have a good template. Next is some spam checkers, MCP. I've seen some MCP servers, but they require a specific thing that I don't want to do, which is register, and it's not hosted locally. And I think I totally forgot about that point. When using MCPs, it's highly recommended to use a local one. So please remember, I forgot to put it in the slide. Don't trust fully using an MCP server hosted by the others. Since of course you don't know what's running on the back end. If you blindly connect your MCP client to a server that you don't know or you don't really trust, then please just don't do it, even if it promises you good results. Like if it will do your work easily, but at the end, since you're talking to their server, you're feeding them the actual data that that is processed by AI and the server. So you're exposing everything to that server. So please remember that. I forgot to put that in my slide. So now here, the point why I mentioned that is that these two servers are remotely hosted. I was not able to host it locally, so I don't trust if I don't see the actual code in the backend. But the idea here is that you can ask the AI to, while writing the pretext, please remove the spam filter so that it will improve the accuracy of getting inside the inbox of the targets and bypassing any spam filters deployed within the email security gateways of the target. Okay, so I think now we're getting near the end. So the last part is report writing. So for me, the most important part in an actual engagement is the report, since well, they don't, well, if you don't have a good report, then even if you're the most technical guy and you can't really explain it to the stakeholders of your target, then I guess it's so much waste, since they are the ones who should appreciate the work that you've done. Even if you can tell that, okay, hack this, I can bypass this, bypass that, but if you don't imply the actual or help them improve their security controls by letting them understand the risks of the things that you've done, then well, you just wasted your entire time of doing the engagement. So now let's try AI. If let's try if AI can provide a good report and specifically good sensible recommendation. So I just did two scenarios. So one is, yeah, I mentioned a while ago about phishing emails. So I just gave AI some details like it's in bullet points. So I just gave AI to please create a set of a set of bullet points that describes the results of the engagement. For me, okay, I think when I did this first, it just felt like I felt a little bit stupid since I'm talking to an LLM, and LLMs know, I'd say LLMs can write better than me. So I just felt like it was able to copy most of the details accurately. It was able to deliver it accurately. But of course, at the end, it still depends on the complete context. So for example, here, it gave me a very generic set of recommendations. If, if, oh wait. If it just copy paste this entirely without considering things, then it might be problematic if there are some items that does not apply directly to your client. So I think even though the writing is good, you need to still tailor it fit to the client's needs or your targets. Uh, but for me, it gives a little bit of frame that you can start using, but I don't entirely recommend the AI's output as the actual recommendations that you use. Next is this. This one is just another example. So it gave you a very generic recommendation. So just apply vendor patches or upgrade it to secure version and restrict external exposure. So for this, I think I want to highlight that it gives a very generic approach on how to handle things, and uh, sometimes it will be very helpful if it's a more detailed set of instructions on how to apply these patches. Like for example, how do you recommend to restrict the external exposure via VPN? Do you recommend a good VPN, or uh, how do you monitor web server and database logs about SQL injection? Do you have any rule sets that can be used? So for here, I think when using AI, you still need to, when using AI to get some recommendations, you still need to consider, well, of course, if it is accurate, and if it's accurate, is it applicable to the recipient of the recommendation? And lastly, if it does not give you a good, accurate thing, just improve your prompt until you get the thing that you want. And last resort, just use it as a template and try to rewrite it on your own so that it, well, it applies to your target. So, I'm over time, so let's go to the conclusion. So for me, after talking about all about AI, I'd say AI is a good teammate. It's not a good replacement. After testing a lot of things, it still felt like it's a headache. I'd rather do it myself than do it with AI. But of course, there's a difference in refining it until it reaches a point that you can rely to it. So another thing, it's not fun to work with AI since it doesn't give you moral support. It's not fun to, like, imagine if you get credentials in a phishing campaign, does it feel good with your team? Or yeah, it will just tell you, okay, very good. But it's a computer, so it's not a human. You won't drink after this work shift if you get credentials right. AI also still needs a lot of oversight. Uh, and lastly, if you're treating AI as a teammate, as a manager, how well will you trust AI in doing the work? Can you sleep at night thinking that you left a prompt running overnight and thinking after the next morning it is all ready? So, yeah, for me, not yet until maybe up to the point that you were able to perfect it, but I think it's a little bit challenging to do. So next is I'd say red teamers should still drive the engagement. I think the human judgment is very irreplaceable, not replaceable. Since yeah, can maybe ask AI or well have a definite steps like having an MC that is accurate, but at the end of the day, there's only a limit to what you can hard code or set. There are some cases, or I mean, there are some researchers about agentic AI. It's like just asking AI to be like a human, leaving all the decisions to the AI. But of course, I'd say there's still limitation on it. Since one, if there are some missteps happen during engagement, like if you did a bad OPSEC or if you've seen that you're now flagged uh, by your blue team counterpart, how will you react? What should you do? So I think with this, there's still a lot of mind games in doing operations. Red team operations is one. It's an operation. It's not just like a pen test that when you get caught, okay, just stop or yeah, you need to react, monitor the blue team. How will you counter them? So it's like when blue team is doing like security operations, you react to them and play a cat and mouse game. Uh, Lastly, key takeaway here is just leverage AI for augmentation, and not automation of judgment. So what's next? I think if you want to use AI in your red teaming, start with AI where it makes sense. Do some offloading on the repetitive work, like port scanning, subdomain enumeration. If those are the things that you think are repetitive and annoying to do, just try to nitpick it and reduce a little bit of work until you arrive at the point that you don't have anything to do anymore and just leave it to AI. But I think that's a long process. Next is okay. Uh, don't rely on vague prompts if you're doing AI. Please, I recommend to specify as much information as possible since I think models nowadays are good enough to interpret everything and try their best to give you the output that you need. So give them more details, define the actual scopes to reduce the noise that it gives. Next, use MCP. I was talking about MCPs a while ago since it gives the structure of the actual things you want to happen. And yeah, keep your MCP playbook sharp. There's a lot of MCPs nowadays, just needs a lot of testing. But at the end, if you're able to pick the ones that are really applicable in your workflows, then just augment it and well, improve it until you reach the point that you don't need to work anymore. Just leave it to AI. But yeah, I already said it a while ago, but it needs a lot of work. And lastly, keep human in control. I'd say AI is just the support, and still we are the strategist. Use it to scale. So if you're lacking manpower, I'd suggest just use it to scale, make things scalable. Don't use AI to replace people. Uh, so yeah, I think that's it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm still here until tonight since we're having a party. But if you have any questions, just reach out to my LinkedIn. Special shout out to TryHackMe, Theos, and TX1 for supporting the Red Teaming Village. And of course for you guys for attending the call. Attending the presentation, not the call. So yeah, that's it. See you later at the Hacker Job. If you have any questions, if you have any questions, do we have time or? Yeah, maybe we can entertain one or two questions. But if none, then yeah, see you at the party. Thanks, everyone.